All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the April 19th Madera County Transportation Commission meeting. We call this meeting to order. Do we need to do roll call?
We don't, because we have everyone in person today, so we don't need to.
Okay, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone. First item on the agenda is public comment. This time is made available for comments from the public on matters within the board's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Attention is called to the fact that the board is prohibited by law from taking any substantive action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusions should be drawn if the board does not respond to the public comment at this time. It is requested that no comments be made during this period on items that are on the agenda. Members of the public may comment on any item that is on today's agenda when that item is called and should notify the chairperson of their desire to address the board when that item is called. Do we have anyone from the public wishing to make public comment? Come on up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Madera, and I'm a policy advocate for the Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability for Madera County. This year, we submitted a letter discussing a plethora of unmet needs of the residents of Madera County. This was included by law.
That item is an item on the agenda, and then she'll call you up when we open up the public hearing. So it'll be one of the first items on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
But not quite yet. No worries.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone online?
There's no comments on my list.
Seeing none, or do we need to wait?
Yeah, pause for a second for any delays. We're all good.
Okay. The MCTC sitting as the Transportation Policy Committee. Item 4 is the transportation consent items. Any commissioners wishing to pull any items? None. Do we have any public comments? Seeing no, do we have any public comment online?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Poitras, second by Commissioner Gallegos. Roll call, please. No,
We can do voice.
We
vote.
can do
It's all in person.
got it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, transportation action discussion items. Item 5A is a public hearing for the 2023-2024 unmet transit needs. We will open the public hearing. No, will we make the presentation?
Yes.
First time presentation.
We'll make the presentation, then we'll open the public hearing. All right,
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is, just give a sec to pull up the presentation.
You already shared.
Not share screen yet. Okay. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Nick Davis, and I'm the Associate Regional Planner at MCTC staff. So. Here we go. I have your job, so I know what it's like. So first, we wanted to outline the roles of both the Madera County Transportation Commission and the Social Service Transportation Advisory Council, otherwise known as SSTAC. And also, I should say today, Michael Lundy is translating for us and very helpful to us in the past, and I know that it'll be helpful again. So for roles of the Madera County Transportation Commission, our first role is to facilitate unmet transit needs process by assisting the coordination of the SSTAC. And we also provide access to the process by noticing the process in newspapers, on social media, and community flyers, taking written comments, holding a public hearing, which we are here today, and providing accessibility services as needed, such as interpretation. We also catalog all comments made throughout the entire calendar year for the unmet transit needs process. And the MCTC policy board chooses whether or not to accept the SSTAC recommendation. For the roles of the SSTAC. SSTAC is tasked with reviewing unmet needs and making a recommendation after considering requests made during the process. SSTAC adopted a new definition prior to the 2022 unmet transit needs public hearing at the request of the public. The membership of SSTAC includes representatives from member jurisdictions and residents of Madera County who are seniors, social service providers, transit users, and disabled. The SSTAC is required by state law, specifically SB 498, and advises the SSTAC policy board on transit-related issues for traditionally underrepresented and underserved populations, such as the elderly, disabled, low-income, and minorities. All comments received and entered into the process for the SSTAC are to be reviewed and considered. SSTAC reviews each comment to determine if it is an unmet transit need and if it is reasonable to meet. And finally, the SSTAC makes recommendations on the comments to the MCTC policy board. Yeah.
Tu proceso de necesidades de transporte público insatisfechas, MCTC. Punto número 1, facilitar el proceso de necesidades de transporte público insatisfechas, ayudando a la coordinación del SSTAC. Punto 2, proporcionar acceso al proceso notificando el proceso en periódicos, redes sociales y volantes comunitarios, tomando comentarios escritos, llevando a cabo una audiencia pública y brindando servicios de accesibilidad según sea necesario como interpretación. Punto 3, catalogar todos los comentarios realizados a lo largo de todo el año para el proceso de necesidades de transporte público insatisfechas. Y punto final, la Junta Política del MCTC elige si acepta o no las recomendaciones del SSTAC. Consejo Asesor de Servicios Sociales, SSTAC. Punto número 1, SSTAC tiene la tarea de revisar las necesidades de transporte público insatisfechas y hacer una recomendación después de considerar las solicitudes realizadas durante el proceso. El SSTAC adoptó una nueva definición antes de la audiencia pública de necesidades de transporte pública insatisfechas de 2022 a pedido del público. Siguiente punto, la membresía del SSTAC incluye representantes de las jurisdicciones, miembros y residentes del condado de Madera, que son personas mayores, proveedores de servicios sociales, usuarios del transporte público y discapacitados. Siguiente punto, SSTAC es requerido por la ley estatal SB 498 y asesora a la Junta de Políticas del MCTC sobre cuestiones relacionadas con el transporte público para poblaciones tradicionalmente, subrepresentadas y desatendidas como ancianos, discapacitados, de bajos ingresos y minorías. Siguiente punto, todos los comentarios recibidos se ingresan en el proceso para que el SSTAC los revise y los considere. Siguiente punto, SSTAC revisa cada comentario para determinar si es una necesidad de transporte público insatisfecha y si es razonable satisfacerla. Último punto, SSTAC hace recomendaciones a la Junta de Políticas de MCTC. Recibir testimonio público. Hoy es la hora y el lugar.
For today. Today is the time and place scheduled for the public hearing to receive testimony for the community regarding from the community regarding unmet public transit needs that may exist in Madera County. Transportation Development Act of 1972 established a local transportation fund and created the State Transit Assistance Fund in 1979. Madera County Transportation Commission, acting as the regional transportation planning agency for Madera County, has been designated as the organization responsible for administering those funds. California Administrative Code requires that a public hearing be held to gather information regarding unmet public transit needs before any money can be allocated from the local transportation fund for the purpose of streets and roads. The Social Services Transportation Advisory Committee, Council, will meet in May to review testimony from this hearing and assess all comments received. At that meeting, SSTAC and MCTC staff will respond to all comments received and make recommendations to the policy board at next month's board meeting on May 17th, 2023. It is recommended that today's testimony should be as specific as possible with regard to those citizens not currently being served by transit, the request type and the amount, amount of transit service, the geographic area in which the service is needed, and specific cross streets are very ideal, and any other supporting evidence or information which will help in evaluating the reasonableness of the requested service. We received comments during our workshop and comment forms submitted to MCTC. The SSTAC will meet in May to review testimony from the public hearing workshops and written comments received up to that point. And if you're attempting online or over the phone to provide comment today, you are advised to raise your hand as soon as possible and keep it raised until you have had the chance to provide your comment. Spanish translate. And then lastly, this is just a general reminder that this public hearing is an opportunity for people to provide comments and to not expect comments to be immediately addressed either by MCTC staff or any of the other commissioners.
Recibir testimonio público. Hoy es la hora y el lugar programados para una audiencia pública para recibir testimonios de la comunidad sobre las necesidades del transporte público insatisfechas que pueden existir dentro del condado de Madera. La Ley del Desarrollo del Transporte de 1972 estableció un fondo de transporte local y creó el Fondo de Asistencia de Tránsito del Estado en 1979. La Comisión de Transporte del Condado de Madera, que actúa como la Agencia Regional de Planificación del Transporte del Condado de Madera, ha sido designada como la organización responsable de administrar estos fondos. El Código Administrativo de California exige que se lleve a cabo una audiencia pública para recopilar información sobre las necesidades de transporte público insatisfechas antes de que se pueda asignar dinero del Fondo de Transporte Local para calles y caminos. El Consejo Asesor de Transporte de Servicios Sociales, SSTAC, se reunirá en mayo para revisar el testimonio de esta audiencia y evaluar todos los comentarios recibidos. En esa reunión, el Consejo Asesor de Transporte de Servicios Sociales, SSTAC, y el personal de MCTC responderán a todos los comentarios recibidos y harán recomendaciones a la Junta de Políticas en la reunión de la Junta del próximo mes, el 17 de mayo de 2023. Se recomienda que el testimonio de hoy sea lo más específico posible con respecto a aquellos ciudadanos que no reciben servicio de transporte público, el tipo de solicitud y la cantidad de servicio de transporte público, el área geográfica en la que se necesita el servicio, las calles transversales específicas o ideales y cualquier otra evidencia o información de respaldo que ayude a evaluar la razonabilidad del servicio solicitado. Hemos recibido comentarios durante nuestros talleres y se han enviado formularios de comentarios del MCTC. El SSTAC se reunirá en mayo para revisar el testimonio de la audiencia pública, los talleres y los comentarios escritos recibidos hasta el momento. Si asiste en línea o por teléfono y tiene comentario, se le recomienda levantar la mano lo antes posible y mantenerla levantada hasta que haya tenido la oportunidad de hacer su comentario.
And that concludes my opening remarks, and I will now hand it back to the chair to open the public hearing for comments.
At this time, we'll open the public hearing. Do we have any public comment? Now's the time.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Uribe, and I'm a policy advocate for Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability for Madera County. This year we submitted a letter discussing a plethora of unmet needs of the residents of Madera County. This list included a lack of adequate and sufficient public transportation, street lighting, needing waste baskets at bus stops, long overdue and essential street repairs, needs for mobility infrastructure and clean mobility projects, among other things. In our email, we also attached common letters dating back to 2019 that go into further detail of the unmet needs of residents in Madera County, especially in communities in Fairmead, La Villa, and the city of Madera. Ultimately, I'd like to highlight the need to start investing in disadvantaged communities such as Fairmead and La Villa, and to begin addressing these unmet needs. A lack of funding in these communities will continue to exacerbate these issues and continue to leave residents behind. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Have any additional public comment? Online,
There are no hands raised on my list.
give it a moment. And we will close the public hearing. Okay. Item 5B, the Sacramento Valley Voice Trip recap, March 28th through 29th.
Yes, I just included this item in the agenda, everything you need to know and want to know about the trip that took place on March 28th and 29th is included in your package from the agenda to the back of the information and materials. And I think it went well. I thought I'd give Supervisor Poitras, he's the chair of the San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Council, to provide a few remarks related to the various meetings that took place. There was a reception held on the 28th, and the 29th was a full day of meeting with our local representatives representing the state assembly and senate.
Okay, very good, thank you. It's interesting to note that I believe in Sacramento right now, there are something like in the legislature, 37 brand new legislators. So in combined assembly and state senate, and we met with 4 brand new legislators, and it was, kind of bringing them up to speed, and some were, more aware of what some of the challenges were than others. But we were definitely well received by all. It was a definitely bipartisan support in terms of what our asks were, and a lot of good feedback, and it was also interesting, because many people know that right now the legislators have had to relocate out of the Capitol because of all the construction going on, and so there's definitely some logistical challenges to meet. But Gus Corey, who we work with to set up the meetings, he was able to get a room for the entire day, which really helped out. And so it was, so we were able to overcome those challenges. But overall, I believe it was very successful. And I also believe that we're getting a lot of momentum in Sacramento in terms of our message. And I think that some of the investments we've made in that direction have really started to pay off. So, thank you.
Just for information discussion only.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Anyone online?
No hands raised.
Okay, we will move on to item 5C, Cottonwood Creek Bridge Project groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. There will be a groundbreaking ceremony unless it's changed. Okay, so Caltrans is actually hosting the groundbreaking ceremony. And I believe I sent an invite to each of you individually. It's also included in the package for it's open to the public. So anyone who's interested in attending is more than welcome to attend. We do have some special guests if they're still on the agenda. We don't often see certain individuals visiting our county. However, we will have Tokes Omashakin. He's the secretary of CalSTA, who he will be presenting. Tony Tavares, he's the director of Caltrans. We will also have the director of District 6 who will open the groundbreaking ceremony, Diana Gomez. Vince Mamano, he's with the FHWA, Federal Highways Administration. I don't know if he's ever been in Madera, actually, so give him an opportunity to, welcome him here. And I'm sure he'll be joining us as well at the October CTC meeting that we hope to have here in Madera as well. Supervisor Poitras will be making comments on behalf of, as chair of the San Joaquin Regional Policy Council. And then Rob Kreider, he's with CHP. He's the assistant chief of the Central Division. He will be providing some remarks too. Pardon me?
Yeah, it's Kreider, and I believe
Kreider.
he's gonna be the new chief here in 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Okay. See, I learn something new every day. So it'll be a nice groundbreaking ceremony for the Cottonwood Bridge. So if you're available to join, please join us. Included in your package is where the event will take place. But it's right there on State Route 99 and Avenue 12 interchange area. And I'm not sure if Michael, if you have anything else to add regarding that.
That's my understanding as well. I don't recall ever being a groundbreaking where the Secretary of Calsta and the Director of Caltrans were in attendance at the same time. So that's a big deal, exactly. And I know we were expecting them in Tulare today for another
Yes,
meeting. They were
I
called
know.
away, but we were told they do plan on being at the groundbreaking tomorrow. So
That's why I was kind of looking at you.
yeah, no, as of this
Yeah.
afternoon, I heard that it was still
Yeah.
on for tomorrow. So
So that'll be great. And part of the celebration is to recognize the IIJA, the Bill Bridge funding. I guess there was some of the funding, 26 million maybe of that is secured for the bridge project. So I think that will be some of the messaging and, safety, obviously. So
Madam Chair, I'm just gonna remark also, this will actually be the second time we've had the secretary. We had Kim here, David Kim for our, what was it, design build
that was
project.
a ribbon cutting ceremony. But I think what Michael was mentioning, both at the same time.
Although the same
Director
time,
and
right,
Secretary.
exactly. So it is a big deal. And I think it's also worthy to note that they are both very supportive of our efforts to complete 99. So it says a lot. And also, I think it's interesting that it's going to be right there at the pinch point.
Yeah.
It could have been a better location. Yeah. So.
Thank you. Do we have any members of the public that wish to make a comment? No one on mic?
None at this time.
Thank you. MCTC sitting as the Madera County Transportation Commission, item 6, reaffirm all actions taken while sitting as the Transportation Policy Committee.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Rodriguez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 7, administrative consent items. Any commissioners wishing to pull any items for discussion?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Gallegos. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, is there any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 8, administrative action discussion items. Fiscal year 2023-2024 overall work program and line item budget.
So at our February meeting, we circulated a draft plan of the overall work program. You should have a copy in front of you with the final. I'm not sure if you wanted that ahead of time or today, but we hope that this is, it's before you for review. I just thought I'd just kind of go over just a little bit briefly about the overall work program and its format and the way it's set up. And so the overall work program obviously first has a table of contents. So if you want to find one particular area, just go to the table of contents and then go to that direct page because it's quite extensive with information. So it's broken out into an introduction, and then it moves into like an organizational chart, committees, agreements that we may have with other member agencies, a summary about the planning and programs of the Madera County Transportation Commission. Some transportation planning issues are outlined in the introduction area. some core planning functions, the federal planning factors, and the planning emphasis areas. And so that kind of gives you some background, some information about the Madera County Transportation Commission, some of our roles, responsibilities as a commission, in the introductory chapters. And then the meat of the budget is this is actually a budget document. The meat of it is the work elements. We refer to them as WEs or work elements. And each work element is broken out into an objective as a discussion of that particular work element that we have scheduled for the year 23-24. Previous work that has been completed, if it's a previous work element and it's moving forward into another, or if we've worked on this over the years, because a lot of our work is done every 2-4 years. It's cyclical. And then a product, what products we are expecting from each of those work elements is listed as well. And then a list of tasks. At which months are we going to be conducting some of these work activities that we say that we will be proposing to complete within the fiscal year of 23-24. So just a couple of highlights, because I know we went through this in February to a certain extent, but the work element 101 is ongoing. It's our regional transportation plans, our sustainable community strategy. This is not a year that we will be adopting a regional transportation plan, but we're always continuing to review, refine, amend if necessary. And so we have staff that continues to pay attention to our regional transportation plan, our state of community strategy. It never ends. We're always working on our next 4-year plan. Work element 104 is a new element. It's the Oakhurst multimodal mobility study. We're working with the county staff on a Oakhurst multi-mobility study. And so that, Troy, is that supposed to be completed in June of 2024? Or
Yes,
I'll check there.
yes.
So I think it's anticipated to be completed in
Next
June
year.
2024.
Yeah. We're working on it right now.
Yeah, it's activities already began. Some of it's working. MCTC staff has been meeting with county staff. Work element 202 is another one that we've spent some time on. It's rail focused. The SJJPA, which is the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority. We monitor any kind of activities taking place related to rail, Amtrak, and what's of particular interest as well is the relocation of the Madera Amtrak station. So we'll be spending some time related to that, working with the SJJPA staff, consultants, Madera County staff, city staff, and so we'll working to relocate the Amtrak station. So all work is needed and focused on that. Work element 401 is more related to goods movement. It's Tradeport California. We will be participating in some meetings related to the Tradeport California, along with county as well, obviously city, EDC, and any other individuals interested in the Tradeport California. State Route 99 multimodal corridor study. That's being kicked off as we speak right now. There's an RFP that's been circulated. It's a plan that we'll be working on, multimodal corridor plan with District 6, Caltrans District 6, Caltrans District 10, and Caltrans District 3, and identifying any kind of multimodal projects that we could all work together and implement in the valley. One might be managed lanes or what have you, but that's something that we're looking at. We'll be retaining, or Caltrans will be retaining a consulting firm to assist in facilitating and working with all of the MPOs in the valley and the districts. So we look forward to that. It is does need to be completed in order to receive our allocation funds for our State Route 99 project from Avenue 12 to Avenue 17. So our project receiving the application is contingent on the completion of that document. But I think that if the document is in the works and it's supposed to take about 18 months to complete that project. And so we are under the correct time frame to move forward. Also included in that work element is, as you're aware, as Supervisor Poitras mentioned, finished State Route 99. We work very closely in partnership with the districts, District 6 and District 10, along with Tulare County Association of Governments and Merced County Association of Governments, and working together to kind of prioritize projects. They have been supportive on projects in Madera, and then we will be supportive in projects that are in Tulare, taking our turns. We hope to identify a funding plan eventually to try to complete our pinch points that Supervisor Quidris referred to as well. Work element 501, that there's some activity that will be taking place this upcoming fiscal year is the 2025 Federal Transportation Improvement Program. Staff will be working on that. We'll have a call for CMAQ projects, congestion mitigation air quality projects program, and also the 2024 STIP preparation. I think that is also going to be part of work element 502 is the development of the 2024 STIP. That will kick off. It's starting really. Some of the discussions are taking place right now. The state is working on their transportation improvement program. We will be working on our regional transportation improvement program. We will be trying to work with the state on trying to identify areas that we may need additional resources. But that will take place during the summer months. And we will be submitting that to you in the fall months for approval. Work element 601 through 605. That's more related to the travel demand model management. We can continue to update, refine, and add additional information. Those work elements deserve a lot of attention as we move forward with our modeling activities. Work element 602 is the air quality analysis and we've been working with California Air Resources Board. So when we adopted our regional transportation plan and our state sustainable community strategy, we're required to go through an evaluation reporting process. So we've started that process. It has to be completed to receive SB1 funding to a certain extent, or at least be in the works to receive SB1 funding. And so it might sound like a simple process, but it's not. Working with the California Air Resources Board, it requires a lot of back and forth in trying to report certain analysis, air quality analysis, and any type of modeling activities. And so we have Dylan Stone on staff who spends a considerable amount of time on that on behalf of Madera County Transportation Commission. Work element 701 is the public participation plan. We always work to continue to refine our public participation plan. There is a task in there to conduct extensive outreach with environmental justice as part of the 2024 MCTC transit needs process. Work element 801 is the MCTC transit needs work element. We will continue to conduct the MCTC transit needs, work with the Social Service Transportation Advisory Council. We administer the Transportation Development Act funds, which are the local transportation funds and state transit assistance funds. And in that work element, we also conduct audits. Work element 901 is lobbying. We are not allowed to use our funding sources on lobbying. However, we have membership dues that are contributed from our local jurisdictions that assist in fulfilling the contract with our lobbyists. Work element 1001 is our overall work program. So the program that you see before you, it's a budget. It's only a budget. It's amended throughout the year. And so we will bring to you any kind of amendments that are of significance or even minor amendments. We bring them to you for your approval and acceptance. So we manage the budget and provide you with amendments. Work element 1101 is the Madera County Transportation Authority Administration. That's Measure T. We receive admin funds to administer and provide audits and administer the Citizens Oversight Committee for the Madera County Transportation Authority when you sit as the authority. So this is before you for approval. We did receive comments from Caltrans, FHWA, FTA. Those comments have been incorporated where we saw that fit to make those adjustments, and for the most part they were minor in nature, and so we were able to make those corrections and incorporated them into the final document. So it's before you for approval and to forward to our partners at Caltrans as well.
Move to approve.
Madam Chair,
Mhm.
yeah, I would just like to mention, number one, this is a very impressive document. And what I would do is I would challenge people who are interested in how MCTC operates and how it, the organization works with the jurisdictions, the cities, the county, with Caltrans, with the federal government, to really take this and study it and understand it, because some of the things that have been talked about are in this report in terms of transit demonstration programs and what the county's doing, what MCTC is looking to that looks at what Madera Community College, how they entered into it. It's a MCTC is it's a very complicated work program, and I commend the director and the staff for their hard work in terms of overseeing everything. But again, there's a lot of answers in this document. I just like to again challenge people who question and really want to know, take a look at this, you know, and I think it would really answer a lot of your questions. Thank you.
Is this document easily accessible on
It's
the
available
website?
online, it's on our website.
Do we have any members of the public who wish to comment on this item? Come on up.
You had just mentioned that the public would be well advised to read this document. Is this document made available to the public?
Yes, it's
Or is it
available.
just online?
Well, if somebody from the public wishes to have a copy, you can send them a copy of it. It's available online right now.
But you would send,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Can you give your name for the record?
my name is Bruce Gray.
Anyone else online? We have a motion on the floor for approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Whitman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, MCTC sitting as the Madera County 2006 Transportation Authority administrative consent items. Have a motion. The first
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, public comment?
No hand raised at this time.
All those in favor, aye. Motion carries. Sorry. Item 10, authority action discussion items, measure T updates.
Yes, included in this item, there's a couple of items I wanted to briefly discuss today. And moving through the agenda quite quickly today. So the first item on the agenda was the Measure T mailer back in, I think it was January meeting. It was requested that we maybe try to solicit some feedback from the voters on the measure and to see, while it's fresh in their minds, just to see how they voted and what is of interest to them in terms of priorities. And so just included in your package, there's a PowerPoint presentation. We did do that. The responses that are included in this PowerPoint, there was, I think, 300 and something responses. And for the most part, I'm gonna go into my larger print. You guys have a smaller print, right? But for the most part, it was 345 responded. And what was important to those that responded, and these are just the ones that responded. This is not a scientific survey. This is not information that's going to be used to determine how we're going to be moving forward, or, you know, in what direction we're moving forward. This is just for your information. Is that potholes and pothole repairs and street repairs always comes up at the top of the list when we do pollings of any sort. The improved driver safety and highway traffic flow also was about 38%, reduced traffic congestion, and then also improved pedestrian safety and safe routes to school. Those were the main top ones. And then there's transit service at 25%. And then it goes down. You all have a copy of this. Those that responded, we asked, were you in support or were you not in support of Measure T? And for the ones that responded, and again, it's not scientific, it was 66.4% that said that they were in support of it. And you're going to probably receive those who were in support to respond positively back in the mail. And so I just wanted to provide you with the results of that, since we did this survey mailer, we did expend some resources on it. So included in your package is a copy of that, along with the results with some quotes that the consulting firm included on the PowerPoint presentation. The next item on the agenda is the Measure T roundtable discussion. We held a meeting on March 13th. And again, the purpose of this meeting was let's just gather those who have expressed an interest in Measure T, either in support or against, or those who work with Measure T on a day-to-day basis. Let's just have a conversation about, what are our next steps? Let's get some feedback. How are we going to move forward? And so we invited individuals from agencies, organizations, the public, we had a great attendance, I thought, and included in your package is a list of those who did attend. And the conversation was a great conversation. It was transparent. Everyone had the ability, I hope they felt they had the ability to speak about what they felt were any kind of concerns or issues moving forward. We hired Eileen Goodwin from Apex Strategies to help gather the information, provide us back some feedback. And so she was there to keep the conversation going and flowing. And I thought that turned out perfect for this type of a setting. There were some takeaways. And so the takeaways from that meeting was there was expressed interest to go in the general election in 2024. And so it looked like the majority were interested in that if we took certain steps in that particular direction. Identifying a sunset date, we all know that's not a surprise that we need to identify a sunset date, whether that be 20, 25, 30 years or something different, that still needs to be determined. But the group overall was 20 to 25 years, it looked like, I think, if I remember correctly. We have some of those results, but that's to be determined as well after we go out and engage the public and do some public outreach. The next one was to engage the public early on as opposed to later in the process. So go out first and go and engage the public and talk to the public about what they see as the need, sunset date, allocation plan, whatever it might be, needs. But the request was for an open-ended agenda to receive input and go out, a couple of times and just into different areas of the community. The other one was to address accountability and the audit process. And so those were the takeaways that we received. So we left the meeting thinking, okay, the direction to the board is let's look to see what we can do in 2024. And we're not, if it looks like there isn't going to be support, we're obviously not going to keep continuing to move forward with it because it is quite extensive when it comes to budget and resources and time, staff time. So the request today is for the board to direct staff to explore moving forward with the 2024 general election by drafting a RFP to retain a consulting firm to do some public outreach activities. And so I've listed some of those activities. It would be potentially, not necessarily limited to, but create a public education team, conduct the first round of in-person workshops, identify projects and expenditure plans and categories that may come out of some of these workshops that we might hold, not going in with any kind of preconceived ideas. Let's hear from the public as to what they feel is important, and determine the length of the measure, and potentially conducting some polling in this first round of retaining a consulting firm is, let's do some initial polling, and establish a framework for developing the investment plan and outreach. So once we determine whether or not we're going to move forward or not in 2024, that would be the outcome of this particular consultant, retaining this consultant. It would be to, at the end of the outreach efforts, determine whether or not we should move forward with 2024. If so, we would establish some sort of a framework and developing an investment plan and outreach, moving to the next phase of 2024. So the request from you today is to direct staff to circulate an RFP to retain a consulting firm. The funds will be coming from Measure T, the Measure T program off the top. We would have staff circulate that for your, and would probably do it depending on the proposals that come back. Whether we do interviews or how that selection process would occur would still be determined, but we would draft that.
Do we have any questions from the commissioners?
Well, all I can say is that I'm certainly in favor of moving forward with the initiative to push this to 2024 with the RFP process. You did touch on some outreach. I think it's important to at least get more of the folks that were part of that roundtable to help with that. I think I would initiate that up in the area where you had most of the resistance first. And like you said, not necessarily there with the preconceived agenda, but more importantly, to make sure that we communicate to folks how Measure T has really, how it's helped not only areas such as Madera County in general, city, Talchula, and the obviously the outskirts of Madera County, where folks felt that there was maybe there wasn't a voice or there was a bigger need, just to make sure that we're clear as far as the term 25 years. We know that based on that roundtable conversation, the till ended by voters or forever tax was not well received. So I think it's important for us to make sure that we start. I mean, that would be what I call the battleground. And I don't mean to say it in that fashion, but I think it's important they need to know that we're here to help. We're here to make sure that these projects are underway, and here's how Measure T has accomplished some of those projects. And there was a lot of, well, nothing's been done, but I on the contrary, I think there is stuff that's been done, and we just have to make sure that we illustrate that. So, and those are my comments.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I think an important concept is that we write our own story and not allow it to be written by someone else. And the fact is that without Measure T, a lot of the streets that are paved in my district wouldn't have been paved. And I think that's a concept that floats throughout the county and the various city projects. And we have to sing that song. As he said, we need to control the narrative on this, and with the facts, that the fact is that Measure T has worked, and it will continue to work if we pass it again. It has worked and it will work. And it's not a new tax. It's a tax that we want to continue, because without it, we are hamstrung concerning one of our biggest needs in this county, and that is safe roads. And controlling that narrative is very important to me.
Madam Chair, I just have a comment. Also, I think it's going to be really important in this next campaign to educate people that it doesn't start and end with MCTC. MCTC is not the organization that develops projects. If somebody's in the county and has a problem with their road, they go to the county. And if they want to see a project, you go to the county. So if you've got a problem with Measure T, it's not the fault of Measure T, it's not the fault of MCTC, it's the fault of your jurisdiction. Or that's where you put in your request. So the city of Madera, there's a number of projects that the city of Madera has developed and is working on, but it's not because of MCTC that they're doing these projects. It's because of the city of Madera. They've sat down and determined they want these projects. What MCTC is there for is to help them fund these projects and help them coordinate their fund. It's to help back these projects. And the same thing with the county of Madera. So I think a lot of people beat up on Measure T and beat up on MCTC when if they've got a problem, they need to go to the county. They need to go to the city of Madera. They need to go to the city of Chowchilla. So I just want to keep that in mind. Measure T is not the bad guy, but I think that it's, and it's interesting, like when we went through this campaign, it was always about, well, you guys didn't do this. Well, it's not Measure T that didn't do this and this. It's not MCTC that didn't. It's if you want to blame somebody, blame your jurisdiction, and so that's what I think we really need to get out. Measure T is there to enhance, it's there to finish projects, it's to help fund the projects that have already been planned by your jurisdiction. So I think that's a really important message.
Thank you.
If I may add to that.
Yeah.
And because it's a region and we work together to leverage this money, this is how we're able to get millions of dollars for projects that I think benefit us all regionally, whether it's 41, whether it's 99. Now, each individual jurisdiction does receive their portion of funding. And I can attest to this, and so can Councilmember Commissioner Gallegos, that the city of Madera we need that money. So for us, it's not a matter of, well, let's wait to see what the voters say. We want to take action on this by 2024, because whatever happens then I think the city will have to take action to make sure that those funds don't, they disappear after it sunsets. So it's important to know, kind of to what Commissioner Poitras says, is that, losing this at the regional level is huge. I mean, not beating up on Measure T or MCTC, but like you said, I think within your representatives or jurisdictions, I think he's absolutely right. That's where it starts there. We have projects that we go through every year. We lay out our 5-year capital improvement project. And within those projects are the needs for our city and an opportunity for the public to come in and, allow you to comment on, hey, we're not meeting in this, and this particular area. Can you please make sure that this is brought? But those are done annually for all of the public to come in and make those comments. Here, obviously, we have the unmet needs, but unmet needs are then transferred to each jurisdiction. Right after what we hear here today, or in the next hearing, we'll come back. There'll be a tally of unmet needs, and they'll distribute that to the jurisdiction. But kind of to your point, Commissioner, I think it's important that we know that MCTC is the agency receiving the funds, helping us fund, and then providing those funds to each agency so that we can accomplish those projects. That's the key thing and importance, because I do hear, well, it's MCTC's fault. Well, we're not getting here, but frankly, you're really hurting more. I think it would hurt more of the people if they don't receive that money. That money is very essential for us in the city. I know that it's very essential for Chowchilla and also very essential for rural parts of the county and or areas of desperate need. So I just wanted to end up with that because I think it's important that we do highlight that. So thank you.
Yeah. Do we have any comment from members of the public on this item? Any online?
No hands raised this time.
Do we need a motion for the
Move to
direction?
approve.
Yes.
I'll second.
We have direction, which is clear.
Yes, the direction is to direct staff to explore 2024 election Measure T renewal effort by directing staff to circulate an RFP to retain a consulting firm to initiate the process moving forward.
We have a first by Commissioner Rogers, a second by Commissioner Rodriguez.
Right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Item 10 is the Measure T Citizens Oversight Committee Member Certificate of Appreciation. Don't see Mr. Reed here, but I see staff.
Good afternoon. We're going to move forward with this item. This item is to recognize and thank Mr. John Reed, who has served on the Measure T Citizens Oversight Committee for the past 8 years, representing District 5. We appreciate and are grateful for his service and diligence in serving on the committee. He will be missed. He's termed out. We would like to present him with a certificate of appreciation, and we'll make sure that we get that to him. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any members of the public have comment or the commission? None? Okay, we will get that over to Mr. Reed. Item 10C is the Madera County 2006 Transportation Authority Sales Tax Revenue Bonds, Limited Tax Bonds, Series 2010 bank qualified. Partial optional redemption.
I know it's a mouthful. This actually, Madam Chair, there is a revised staff report for this item that should be included with your materials. Some of the numbers changed since the release of the agenda, and so we wanted to make sure we had the most accurate information as of today. This item is to approve the early redemption of revenue bonds that were issued in 2010 to complete the Eller Street overcrossing and Avenue 12 interchange improvements in Madera County. Currently, a total of 2.935 million of principal remains outstanding, consisting of 1.43 million due on March 1st, 2024, and a final principal maturity of 1.505 million due on March 1st, 2025. Staff has identified certain funds remaining on deposit that bond counsel recommended should be applied to debt service payments totaling approximately 2.38 million. These funds can be applied to pay off outstanding 2010 bonds at no prepayment penalty. The entire outstanding principal maturity of 1.505 million due on March 1st will be redeemed. 2025 will be redeemed, and approximately 855,000 of the March 1st, 2024 maturity will be redeemed. This redemption will result in a remaining principal amount of 575,000 outstanding due on March 1st, 2024. Staff recommends moving forward with a partial optional redemption of the 2010 bonds. By utilizing the funds on hand to redeem the 2010 bonds, an interest cost savings of approximately 176,000 will be generated. Additionally, the final maturity of the 2010 bond will be shortened by 1 year from March 1st, 2025 to March 1st, 2024. With us online is Bobby Chung from K&N Public Finance, who is assisting us with the bond redemption. He or I are available for any questions.
Have any questions from the commission?
Madam Chair, I just have a question. And Troy or Bobby, you might answer this. It's in regards to the early redemption. That's great if we can, pay it off early and save money. That's wonderful. Does this have anything to do with perhaps the rate on this bond was really low, and right now the market, the rates are pretty high, so the value of this bond is way down, and so it creates a more favorable
So
repayment?
we actually have some bond proceeds remaining from the initial proceeds. Part of it is in the project fund. Part of it is in the capitalized interest fund, which was part of when they issued the bonds, there was a premium on the bonds. So that got put in the capitalized interest fund. Those should have been applied to the interest early on, and we still have them on hand. And so a bond counsel is recommending to use the savings that were made, that were realized in the project fund. It was about 750,000 in the project fund, about 800,000 in the interest fund, and then the accumulated interest that's been earned on those funds over the last 13 years, which is the 2.38 million to pay down the debt early, basically. And so that is the recommendation of bond counsel, which we support and recommend as well.
Very good, thank you.
Anyone else? Do you have any members of the public wishing to comment? Anyone online?
No one online at this time.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a first by Commissioner Gallegos and second by Commissioner Rogers.
Done.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Save money.
Item 11, items from staff.
Yes.
Oh. Sorry.
She has one.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to introduce you to our new staff member. We have a new accounting technician, too, Samantha Salvador. I knew I was gonna blow that one. Anyways, she's here joining us today, and she likes to be referred to as Sam. So if you can refer to her as Sam, and we'll give her a welcoming. So if you have any words you'd like to add, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to if you don't want to. But she's been on the job for a couple of weeks now, and I understand she's a great addition and will be assisting Troy and Sandy, but mainly Troy. And so, well needed, we needed an accounting technician to assist with all the work that we've been doing related to audits and, you know the drill. Writing checks and all that stuff, but paying bills. So welcome, Sam.
Welcome.
Right.
Also, I wanted to mention that you all were aware back in, I think it was January, we supported to nominate Supervisor Poitras for a Blueprint Award. And we've been informed that Supervisor Poitras will be receiving the award for outstanding San Joaquin Valley local. The award will be presented to him next week in Manteca at the San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Council.
Exciting.
So congratulations.
Congratulations, Rob. Make like a surprise or anything? It's just. I want to see like 3 people like maybe gets it or something.
Right, I know, that would be more exciting, you know.
I
No,
know,
it's great.
I
No,
know.
thank
Not
you.
gonna share.
I blew it and threw it out in the.
I know, I heard.
No, thank you, everybody. I know a lot of people put in a lot of hard work and it's definitely a team effort, so thank you.
Thank you. And then Evelyn has it.
Yes, so I actually shared a flyer that we received this morning about a workshop that the Department of Public Health shared with us. It is for the Design for Pedestrian Safety Workshop. The date for that is May 11th and it's a half-day workshop. Wanted to,
Thank you.
Can that be emailed out? I'll take you share. Thank you.
Okay, items from Caltrans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Just a couple reminders on some grant opportunities. So the last call for the Clean California Local Grants Program, those applications are due April 28th. So I know some of our partners are working on applications, so best of luck on those. A couple upcoming grant opportunities. We've talked in the past about the Reconnected Communities Highways and Boulevard State Program. They're having their next workshop on May 9th. Sounds like this might be a little different. They're looking for extremely transformative projects, and a lot of agencies, including ourselves, maybe don't have these projects ready to go. So they're looking like it might trend to more of a call for communities as opposed to a call for projects, looking to take on a community and go through from start to finish, like the engagement process and getting a project ready to deliver. So when the guidelines come out, if we see some opportunities in our region, love to have a conversation about those. This is the second call for the Safe Streets and Roads for All program. There was a call last year. They gave away about $800 million to 500 projects. I think Madera County actually received one for a safety action plan or something last year. So that call is out between now and July 10th. The letter support process, if you're looking for one from Caltrans, we just sent out a call to all of our member agencies. The deadline for putting a request for Caltrans to provide letter support is May 19th. The Caltrans planning grants, that call wrapped up and we did receive 2 from the Madera County region. We did receive one for the Oakhurst area mobility study, which I think differs a little bit from the work element that Director Taylor talked about. This one's a little more focused on 41 and 49 accessibility is my understanding. And then Chowchilla put in for Chowchilla bicycle pit revitalization plan. So those have been scored locally in our district. We're hoping they compete well. They'll go to headquarters for the next review and we'll hear some announcements late spring, early summer. Director Taylor did talk about the corridor plan. So yes, that is in the works. The RFP period has closed and my understanding is that the team will be evaluating applications. I believe actually during the conference, they have to step away and participate due to time and get that on board. So we're hoping to have those funds encumbered here the upcoming weeks and get that consultant on board very soon as we start working on that much needed corridor plan. A couple other announcements. This week is National Work Zone Awareness Week for the week of April 17th. So you might see that on some of the CMS signs out there. And then the following week is Caltrans Safety Awareness Week. And this time of year, we do our Workers Memorial Remembrance. And so since 1921, we've lost 191 employees in the line of duty. And so what they do a ceremony at the Capitol. They do one in each district. And they put out a cone to commemorate each person that's lost their life. And, you know, obviously we strive to add no new codes each year. And unfortunately, we're going to be adding 2 this year. one from District 4, and then one was Ali Shabazz from District 6, and both could have been prevented. One was, I think the one from District 4 was a DUI, high speeding driver through construction zone. And then for Ali Shabazz, someone ran a stop sign. He's working a night shift, ran the stop sign and was killed. So we'll have those ceremonies coming up here. The Capitol is April 27th, and we'll do one in Fresno and Bakersfield. So on the projects, South Madera 6-lane project, we are working on the right-of-way design phase currently. Last month at the CTC, they did adopt the $33.5 million ITIP and the shop amendment. So good news, that was finally made official. We continue to plug away at the downtown Madera 145 project, additional funding, and my understanding is the team did meet with the design and talk about the additional scope the city would like to add. So I think now we're just weighing out, there could be some additional time associated with incorporating that scope, but it does sound doable with maybe have to put the project schedule out, but as Councilmember Rodriguez said a couple of times, it'd be nice to get get everything you want, even if it means a slight delay. So that's something I think executive management, the city are discussing now. So like I said, try to make that really a transformative project for downtown Madera. We continue to work on the 99233 interchange projects. So our design folks are working on the project report and incorporating comments now. So that was kind of an exciting project too, because that'll be the first project where we've been able to fully mitigate VMT and do a mitigate neg deck as opposed to an EIR. And so thank you to city and county staff and work with MCTC staff on identifying the mitigation. Hard to imagine a VMT impact on the interchange reconstruction, but because rather than lay on the bridge, we did have to address VMT. It was small. And so the way we are, we're funding, it looks like maybe a van pool opportunity to the Prisoner Chowchilla area to offset that VMT. So it would be added accessibility improvement. And that's kind of what we try to do as we do VMT. We try and put the improvements in the area of the region that the project is in. So that way Chowchilla would benefit from that. So like I said, that'll be, I think, the first in the state where we've been able to get away with doing a neg deck and fully mitigating VMT on the project.
I think idle time would be a consideration at that as well.
No, definitely agree with you. And like I said, that project is I think we've been working on that project since I started at Caltrans. Yeah. I was thinking about that when they mentioned that Will Kempton was going to moderate the panel. I was thinking like my first
home run when you're done with that.
My first interaction with Will Kempton was on the Chowchilla
Yeah.
interchange,
Oh
like
my
in
God.
2002 or 3. So
You'll be familiar when I mentioned it on the panel.
yeah, so we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there little by little.
I'll be excited when that one happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then it was already mentioned that the groundbreaking tomorrow, so hope to see many of you there. And then the Ranchers Rehab Project out on 41. So they did have a pre-construction meeting last month, and the first working day is expected to be on May 8th. And that's out there between Avenue 15 and 145, rehabbing the lanes. And it'll be a total of 225 working days there. And then lastly, just wanted to share, my team was up in Course Gold today. So one thing I've kind of tasked my team with doing is something we call walk audits. And I'll be honest, I think we kind of got the idea from the grant that was done for 145 and actually going out and walking these communities, walking with people with a school district. I think someone from the chamber may have attended today, CBOs, and just walk that community and kind of get a real feel for what the user of the facility experiences when they walk through there, gaps in sidewalk, things that we're addressing with the 145 project. So we've kind of made it a target to do at least, 4 of those a year, every quarter doing a new one, and try and line those up before we do our actual project initiation documents to make sure we're scoping them adequately, addressing all the needs of all users. So it's something that's caught on. I know our Secretary Albashaka was very impressed with it, our director. So it's something we're still trying to fine tune. So if there are opportunities in areas along the state highway where you feel this would be beneficial, please feel free to reach out to me or my team. But as I mentioned, we have a rehab project out there. And so what we're trying to do is, as part of the rehab, see if there's other elements we could incorporate in the project for addressing sidewalk gaps, transit stops, bike lanes when they make sense, et cetera. So
Excellent.
just wanted to share that with you.
Thanks.
So and that completes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Madam Chair, I do have a comment. In the spirit of former Supervisor Commissioner Wheeler, we had a list of all these potholes, right? So I do want to continue that tradition.
Hope you have post miles.
Yeah, heading, and this is what I notice as I go outside of Madera, heading southbound from 12 to 9 off. It seems to be the right lane on both southbound and northbound. coming into Madera from 9 to 12, that there is some potholes there, and also on 145 downtown. I'm not sure if you can attest to that also, Commissioner Gallegos, but there's a couple of potholes there that could certainly be filled. So just thought I'd throw that out there, and hopefully I have more for you the next time.
Absolutely. Happy to share that. I think, Madera crews won't know what to do if I don't come back with a list of potholes after MCTC meeting. I think they have the board meetings on their calendars. They plan to work for the following week.
Yeah.
You know, at first I thought it was quite excessive. He pulled out his list, but it seemed like, it worked. So
The Madera crew is really good. And then, with the heavy rains we had this year,
Yeah,
so it's extremely busy. So there's some locations.
Are the word.
Yeah, exactly. So some locations that they're just trying to maintain till we do a more, obviously do a more complete, appropriate rehab project. And they'll do their best to maintain those along the way. And then hopefully we address them more.
appreciate that, Mike. Thank you.
I'll get you a list of the ones from Eastern Madera County. I was just there over the weekend in Bass Lake and we ran into quite a few, so I'll get a list for you as well.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? So we'll move on to commissioner report. We'll start with Commissioner Poitras.
I have nothing else to report.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
I had an opportunity to attend the San Joaquin Rail Joint Powers Authority, the absence of our chair, Chair Gonzalez, but it was a good meeting. I'm gonna say that I think they had the 3 items for the Madera station, so which was good. They did have an item that brought out some controversy regarding relocation of a different station. This was a station out at the Bay Area that they were kind of going back and forth. Kind of resonated a little bit of what we had gone through here in Madera. So it was a good meeting, but overall, I was happy to see that the 3 items for the Madera station went through pretty quickly, and it was a good meeting. So thank you for the opportunity.
Commissioner Gay.
I just want to thank the community on finally Granada and 13 is open. We had that sewer break, our main line. And so with our rock star Alan Bitter over there, we were able to get that open for the community to make that right away and throughway where everybody needed to travel. So woo-hoo, it's all open, everyone. That's it, Chair.
These are interesting times for transportation because of the extreme cost of material and the price of fuel that goes with that territory. So we have expended a big portion of our roads budget just fixing roads that have been destroyed. And it just accentuates the need for Measure T even more. And so I would encourage people to talk about that specific thing. Thank you.
I just want to thank our interpreter today. Thank you very much. I followed along and a lot of times things get lost in translation and I think you did a beautiful job. So thank you for that. That's it. So we have no closed session. No. And with that, we stand adjourned. Yeah.